What happened next changed everything. A single patent I'd forgotten about became the weapon that brought down a tech empire worth nearly $1 billion. This is how I went from unemployed coder to the woman who controlled my former CEO's destiny. I thought my code could revolutionize cloud computing. Sitting in my cramped Denver apartment, staring at a bowl of Lucky Charms that had gone soggy hours ago, I replayed the moment everything collapsed. 14 years at Teknova Systems. 14 years of building their flagship platform from nothing, working through weekends while CEO Marcus Brennan played golf with venture capitalists. I'd grown up in small-town Nebraska, learning to code on a second-hand gateway computer because my single mom couldn't afford anything better. The termination email had arrived on a Tuesday morning. Your employment is terminated effective immediately. No signature, no explanation, just a digital pink slip that erased over a decade of my life. I'd been Teknova's lead architect, the brain behind their revolutionary cloud sync platform that promised to make data migration seamless across any system. I'd missed my sister's wedding debugging critical servers. I'd coded through my father's funeral because Marcus insisted the timeline couldn't slip. Now I sat in yesterday's yoga pants, my trusty MacBook Pro open to LinkedIn, scrolling through job postings that all seem to want ninjas and rock stars willing to work for equity and kombucha on tap. My phone buzzed, probably another recruiter promising me the opportunity of a lifetime at some startup. But when I glanced at the notification, my blood went cold. A Google alert I'd set up months ago: Teknova $900 million acquisition talks stall over intellectual property disputes. $900 million. The deal Marcus had been chasing for 2 years, the one he'd promised would make us all rich. My fingers trembled as I clicked the article. Words like core IP ownership and patent complications jumped out at me. My stomach dropped. I'd built that system. Every algorithm, every optimization, every line of code that made Teknova worth nearly $1 billion had flowed through my keyboard. Something was very wrong, and my name was written all over it. The certified letter arrived at 6 a.m., slipped under my apartment door like a harbinger of chaos. The return address read Morrison & Associates, Intellectual Property Law, Denver, Colorado. My hands shook as I tore it open, expecting a lawsuit or worse. Instead, I found a lifeline disguised as legalese. Dear Ms. Sullivan, we represent Global Tech Industries regarding their proposed acquisition of Teknova Systems. We need to discuss patent US 10-234-567, which lists you as the primary inventor. I read it 3 times before the words sank in. A patent? My patent? I didn't remember filing anything. Racing to my laptop, I pulled up the USPTO database and entered the number. The page loaded slowly, my apartment's sketchy Wi-Fi making me want to scream. Then there it was. Distributed Cloud Resource Optimization System inventor, Catherine M. Sullivan. My name. Not Teknova's. Not Marcus's. Mine. The memories came flooding back like a dam bursting. 5 years ago, my mentor Dr. Sarah Chun had been forced out during one of Marcus's restructuring phases. Sarah had been Teknova's original CTO, the woman who'd hired me straight out of Colorado State and taught me everything about enterprise architecture. I remembered Sarah's last day, how she'd limped into my cubicle with her bad knee that never healed right from her skiing accident. She dropped a manila folder on my desk with a grim expression. "File this yourself," she'd whispered, glancing around nervously. "Your cloud sync algorithms. Patent them under your name, not the company's. Trust me on this." I'd protested. "Sarah, that's not how it works. Legal handles all our IP filings." Her eyes had been fierce. "Legal works for Marcus, not for you. You built this system, Kate. You should own it. File it personally, they won't notice until it's too late." I'd done it because I trusted Sarah, because she believed in a shy girl from Nebraska when no one else would. But then life had gotten crazy: product launches, all-nighters, Marcus's endless demands. I'd completely forgotten about the patent. Now, staring at the official document on my screen, I realized Sarah hadn't just protected my work. She'd handed me a nuclear weapon. My phone rang. Marcus Brennan's name flashed on the screen. I smiled for the first time in weeks and let it go to voicemail. Marcus's voicemail was pure corporate theater. His voice oozed fake concern as he rambled about unfortunate misunderstandings and clerical errors with an old patent filing. That cloud sync optimization thing you helped develop, he called it, as if I'd been some junior developer fetching his coffee instead of the architect who'd built his empire. I didn't call back. Instead, I texted Sarah's old number, the one she'd given me when she cleaned out her desk. Sarah, it's Kate. That patent you made me file is causing chaos. Call me. She called at midnight, her voice gravelly from years of late-night coding sessions. Took them long enough to notice, she chuckled. They fired you before the acquisition, didn't they? I nodded into the darkness of my apartment. 2 weeks ago. No warning, just gone. Her laugh was cold and sharp. Classic Marcus. He thought he could erase you from the equation. That patent is the backbone of their entire platform, Kate. Everything they built sits on your foundation. She gave me a name, Rebecca Martinez, an IP attorney who'd made her reputation destroying overconfident tech CEOs. I called Rebecca at dawn, my voice shaky with caffeine and adrenaline. I'm Kate Sullivan. I own a patent that's blocking a $900 million deal. Rebecca's laugh was like a switchblade opening. Honey, you don't just own a patent. You own their souls. Send me everything. By noon, another envelope arrived from Technova's HR department. A thinly veiled threat about proprietary materials on my personal laptop, signed by some lawyer I'd never heard of. Rebecca scoffed when I forwarded it to her. They're terrified. Let's turn up the heat. For the first time in weeks, I felt something I'd almost forgotten: power. Rebecca Martinez was a force of nature in a tailored blazer. Her voice cut through the phone like a laser as she laid out our strategy. Technova's desperate, Kate. Marcus is trying to scare you into signing over the patent for pennies. Don't even think about it. She'd already reached out to Global Tech Industries, the company that was supposed to acquire Technova. They want to meet with you directly. No middlemen, no Marcus. Just you and your intellectual property. My head spun. Global Tech didn't care about Technova anymore. They wanted my patent, the one I didn't even know I had until yesterday. I wasn't the fired developer eating cereal in sweatpants anymore. I was the key to a billion-dollar kingdom. I called Sarah again, needing her wisdom. What do I do? Marcus is offering severance, apologies, even my old job back. Her voice was steel. You don't negotiate with snakes, Kate. You strike. They threw you away after you built their empire. Now you own the foundation. She was right. I'd spent years coding through exhaustion, through my dad's illness, through Marcus's empty promises about stock options that never materialized. They didn't deserve my mercy. Rebecca set up a meeting with Global Tech for the following week. Stay quiet until then, she warned. Let Marcus panic. Desperate people make stupid mistakes. The stupid mistake came that afternoon. My former teammate Jessica called, her voice trembling with obvious coaching. Kate, Marcus asked me to reach out. He just wants to resolve this quietly, you know? For old time's sake. I closed my eyes, hating that they'd used her. Jessica and I had shared countless late-night debugging sessions, survived Marcus's impossible deadlines together. Tell Marcus to talk to my lawyer, I said, keeping my voice steady. And Jess? Don't let them use you like they used me. I hung up, my hands shaking, not with fear, but with the thrill of fighting back. That night, Rebecca texted me, Global Tech wants exclusive licensing rights. Marcus is officially out of the picture. I was in control now. The conference room at Global Tech's Denver office was all floor-to-ceiling windows and polished steel, the kind of place where dreams either take flight or crash and burn. I sat across from Marcus Brennan, watching sweat bead on his forehead despite his perfectly pressed Armani suit. Rebecca sat beside me, her presence more intimidating than any weapon. Marcus's legal team, 3 lawyers who looked like they charged by the minute, flanked him like bodyguards. He tried his famous smile, the one that had charmed investors and tech journalists for years. Kate, so good to see you. Let's get this misunderstanding sorted out, shall we? I said nothing, letting him squirm in the silence. He rambled about my early days at Technova, how I'd been such a dedicated team player. Dedicated? I'd built his platform while he was picking out his third Tesla, while I was eating ramen noodles and he was dining at Michelin-starred restaurants on the company card. We made some mistakes, he finally admitted, sliding a contract across the polished table. A generous severance package, a consulting role with full benefits, and we'll make sure you get proper credit in all our press materials. Let's fix this patent situation. Rebecca raised an eyebrow that could have cut glass. Situation? You mean the patent Kate owns outright? I leaned forward, my voice calm but lethal. I built your platform, Marcus. Every algorithm, every optimization, every line of code that made you worth $900 million. You fired me with an email, no signature, no explanation. Now your deal is dead because you didn't even know what you owned. I slid my own papers across the table, the exclusive licensing agreement with Global Tech. They're buying the patent directly from me. You're not part of this anymore. Marcus's face went white. His lawyers froze like deer in headlights. Kate, wait. We can work something out. Name your price. I stood up, Rebecca rising beside me like a guardian angel in designer shoes. Good luck explaining this to your board of directors. I hear they're calling an emergency meeting. We walked out, leaving behind a silence thick enough to cut with a knife. I didn't need his apologies. I had something better, his ruin. My new office at Global Tech overlooks the Rocky Mountains, the peaks catching morning light like they're celebrating my triumph. The nameplate on my door reads Kate Sullivan, Chief Technology Officer, not Associate, not Junior, just my name and a title that actually means something. 3 months ago, Global Tech closed the deal. They bought my patent outright for an amount that made my Nebraska farm girl eyes water, then offered me a position that came with stock options, a signing bonus, and the kind of salary I'd only dreamed about. The signing bonus alone paid off my student loans and covered my mom's medical bills from her heart surgery last year. I'm not clipping coupons anymore or buying generic cereal. Technova, meanwhile, is imploding like a controlled demolition. Tech blogs are having a field day with headlines about their failed acquisition, shareholder lawsuits, and Marcus's uncertain leadership future. The company I'd poured 14 years of my life into is selling off assets and laying off the engineers who used to be my teammates. I got a voicemail from Marcus last week, 67 seconds of groveling that I deleted without finishing. I forwarded the notification to Sarah with a simple message, "We won." She sent back a gif of a wolf howling at the moon. I laughed until my sides hurt. Marcus's words didn't matter anymore. His empire was crumbling, and I was the earthquake that started the avalanche. Standing at my office window with real coffee, not instant, but beans from a local roaster who knows my name, I don't feel like a conqueror. I feel free. Free from the grind, the betrayal, the nights I cried over code while Marcus took credit for my work. I'm not the quiet developer who fixed everyone else's messes anymore. Now I'm building something new, something mine. Technova can choke on their worthless stock options. My future is brighter than all their golden parachutes combined. I walk into my office every morning now, and it still feels like stepping into someone else's life, except it's mine. The view of the mountains, the hum of a workspace where my ideas actually matter, where because I said so isn't the final answer to every technical discussion. It's not just a job. It's the life I didn't dare imagine when I was eating soggy Lucky Charms and wondering if I'd ever code again. Sometimes I think about my old cubicle at Technova, the flickering fluorescent light that buzzed like my anxiety, the way Marcus's voice would boom across the office making promises he never intended to keep. That Kate, the one who coded through tears and doubted her worth, she's still part of me. But she's not driving anymore. I found an old photo last week, tucked in a box I'd never unpacked, a team picture from my first year at Technova. I'm in the back row, barely visible, smiling like I believed we were changing the world. Sarah's there too, her ID badge clipped to her shirt pocket instead of a lanyard because she said lanyards were corporate theater. I owe her more than I can ever repay. She saw the wolves in suits before I did, handed me a shield when I didn't even know I was going to war. Now I'm building something revolutionary at Global Tech. Not just code, but a culture. A place where engineers like me don't get erased when it's convenient. It's slow work, methodical, like writing clean code after years of patching other people's quick fixes. Technova made the news again last week, another round of layoffs, more executive departures. Marcus is probably out there somewhere, pitching his vision to anyone desperate enough to listen. I don't care anymore. I'm not angry. Anger was fuel when I needed it, but now I've got something better, purpose. The patent that started this whole war is just the beginning. I've got 3 more applications pending, all filed under my name, all based on innovations I'm developing here at Global Tech. This time, I know exactly what I own. My cat, Pixel, is curled up on my windowsill at home, and I've got a freezer full of Ben & Jerry's instead of generic ice cream. Small victories that taste like freedom. To everyone who's ever felt invisible in a conference room, who's ever had their work stolen by someone in a better suit, this one's for you. Sometimes the quiet ones have the sharpest teeth. Sometimes the person they least expect to fight back is the one holding the nuclear codes. Keep building. Keep fighting. Keep taking what's yours. And remember, they can fire you, but they can't delete what you created. Your name is on that code. Make sure it stays there.